AudioThing just released Wavebox for iOS, and I, for one, am very excited about that. I have my iPad Mini 6 here. Let's just explore this together and see what happens. I've never used this app. I've never even opened it. So we're going to find out how this works together. I'm going to start with a MIDI input, and let's do chord jam. We'll just do something simple. Basic progression 1. Yeah, how much more simple could you get than basic progression 1? And then let's do an audio. We'll do audio unit extension, decent sampler. Then we will link these together like that. Let's get a library. Let's do, well, once this loads, let's do Wrist, our piano library, distressed piano library. Right there. If you saw anything in there that is not yet released, no, you didn't. There we go. Let's slow down the tempo. And let's load up Wavebox. One of the things I personally love about AudioThing apps is the randomize feature. I think that is such an inspirational feature to have for something like this. Just being able to hit randomize and seeing what happens, how everything interacts with each other, the frequencies, the layers. It can be so inspiring. So let's, well, we'll get to that. Just looking at the interface, you got shaping functions in the top left. Then you have a oscilloscope right there in the middle. On the top right, you have the master box. Bottom left, an LFO, LFO2, an envelope follower, and a filter. So my first instinct, really, as someone who does like ambient and experimental music, is to just hit randomize and see what happens. So I'm gonna do that. Look at that already. Compared to the sound that we had right out of the box, this is way more tame. Not as much distortion or overdrive or grit, however you want to describe it. This is a very usable sound, and I'm gonna put in some reverb here because I want to hear it in the context of how I personally would use it. So I will add some reverb. Bring the mix down so it's not as crazy. Maybe a little more mix. 37, that sounds good. And let's just keep hitting randomize. I mean, this sounds cool. Or how about this? We'll start with this. I'll mess with some of these knobs and see what they do. We'll start with shaping functions. Okay, so moving ceiling up and down changes the oscilloscope. The bias changes the starting point there. You can see where that splits. Oh, okay. Have an oversampling down here. Doesn't really sound like it's doing anything at the moment. Filter. Some more reverb in there. Why not? Let's go through some of the presets. We got 3D here. That is quite aggressive. Alarm tone. You can definitely hear the alarm, the emergency alarm in there. Probably coming from the resonance in the filter, I would imagine. I think the filter is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. Bad connection. That's a cool sound. This kind of sound, that kind of like intermittent signal loss sound, this is one of my favorite sounds in all of just like ambient, textural, experimental, whatever you want to call it, music. I love stuff where it just like comes in and out and you're just catching glimpses of what it sounds like. I love this sound. Broken. Compressor really clean. Nice. Gentle tape. Okay. Another thing I enjoy a lot, gentle tape. This is a nice patch. Preset. This is cool too. Network Transmission is the name of this preset. Another one of those that just kind of like, I mean, this one's clearly faster than the other one, but the sound just kind of cuts in and out. Very harsh. This is nice. Synced drive. That's cool. Well, out of all of these, I think the Broken Tremolo Resonant is my favorite by a long shot. Add a delay before the reverb. Switch these so the delay goes into the reverb. Usually sounds nicer, although you don't have to do that. I'm a big proprietor of there are no rules. If it sounds good, it sounds good. Don't let anyone tell you you have to do it this way. There are very few things in audio and in music where you have to do things that way. The other 99.9% of the time, you get to do whatever you want. If it sounds good to you, it sounds good. That's all that matters. Let's get some tape on here. Oh, there it is. I was like, where's Reels? This app for me as an ambient musician, as someone who really enjoys texture and soundscapes and ear candy and things that are different, just scrolling through the presets, not even hitting randomize as much as I would like to, because I do love hitting randomize. Scrolling through the presets, using this, I think this is going to add a lot of really interesting textural layers to the music that I make. And not just the music that I make with an iPad. Obviously, I use my iPad as a sound processing device. But a lot of the sounds that I make on my iPad find their way into my computer, where I compose music for films and for shows and podcasts and presentations and all kinds of things that I've been fortunate enough to work on at this point in my life. It's a really good app. I think I just paid $6.99 or $7.99 for this app, and I love AudioThing. They're you probably saw how many AudioThing apps do I have? And my iPad regularly kicks stuff off of here, but right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 AudioThing apps, and they're by far the most represented company of any of the apps aside from Apple that I have installed on my iPad at the moment. And this is no exception. In just the brief exploration that I did in this video, it's not even exploration, I was just dialing in a tone for this sound. In the brief amount of time it took me to do that, I know that I'm going to be using this app a lot. Again, as someone who makes a lot of music and audio and composes music for films, and I've released my own music, LPs and EPs and collaborations and everything, I'm going to use this a lot. And that's a genuine statement. I'm not being paid by AudioThing to make this video. I'm making this video because I want to. I want to share how this tool sounds with people who are interested in buying it. Let's hit random. Let's do a couple randoms. Take tape off, and I'll take delay off, but I'll leave reverb on. I'll just turn it down a little bit. Let's hit random. This is a really good patch. I'm going to save that. 20. What day is it today? 0515. 1. I think there's a lot of usable tonal variety in this app. It's not just something that's going to be sound design for the sake of sound design, that's just going to make wild and crazy sounds that you'll honestly never end up using. I could just keep hitting random here, and in randomizing all these parameters, I'm just hearing sounds that I would use. distortion and wave shaping, obviously, because that's the app that it is. But none of these sounds in this randomizing have been unusable, and that's significant to me. And hopefully to you as well. I feel like a lot of times when companies have apps or plugins or VSTs, whatever the case may be, and they want to show off their sound design capabilities, a lot of what ends up happening is you create sounds that on their own sound cool, but for me, I'm always trying to remember that I'm using this as a tool to make music. I'm personally not a sound designer. I don't do Foley. I don't do effects or anything like that. I make music. So if the tool that I bought is not helping me make music and it's just making cool sounds, that's useless to me. It's just doing something that doesn't serve the greater purpose. And maybe you are a sound designer and you do effects and things for movies or whatever, and you need something to make a wild sound. There's a lot of great apps for that, and I'll talk about them in the future. I don't do that. I need the things that I spend my money on to make sounds that I will use. And this app makes sounds that I will use. This is just an incredibly useful app. That's cool. You should buy this. If you make music on an iPad for fun or professionally, you should buy this. This is a really good app.